Welcome to Lit Happens, Saskatchewan showcase of the literary talent of the province. And we are out on location at Amazing Stories on 8th Street in Saskatoon. And we are really stoked to be here. And that's a good segue into my guest because we have Jacqueline Moore back on the set with us.
Hello.
Hello. And I just want to tell the viewers, remind them that you were the first guest ever on Lit Happens. And
Thank you.
Here we are
I know,
on
it's an
about
honor.
135 episodes later, and you're back.
Good for you for
So-
hanging in there too.
Yes, I am. I'm very happy with the success of the show, and
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a very popular show.
yeah. Oh, well, thank you. Now, we're here at Amazing Stories, and I think that's a good segue into what I want to talk about is your book, The Saskatchewan Secret, because this is an amazing story.
Thank
This
you.
is an amazing story.
Thank you.
Now, we talked about this on the first time you were here, but just to remind us again, how did this book come to be? Because it's,
Well, there were two healers that I'd heard a lot about in Saskatchewan that, just through word of mouth, these were people who had done amazing things like cure cancer or glaucoma. And I was a journalist. I wanted to write magazine articles about them is what I thought I would do. And when I set out to meet them and sort of got tapped into that whole network of these, I'm going to say underground healers because they're people who don't advertise, they're not doing it as a business, you only hear about them through word of mouth. Once I'd gotten into that network, there turned out to be 13 people that I was very impressed by, and by then it was a book. It had turned into more than just a magazine article.
and so I've often read articles and interviews with you where you say, as you were writing the book and publishing it, it changed you. You sort of went through your own metamorphosis. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, for one thing, I thought I was going to write objective stories about meeting these people and be a journalist and ask them questions and not be in the story. It didn't turn out that way because they were all so personable and friendly and giving that they all sort of did their work on me while I was with them. And most of them I spent hours and hours with. Some of them I saw several times. And so we really got to know each other. And they affected me because they ended up kind of healing me in their own ways,
Yeah.
Not all of them, but yeah, I'm definitely in the stories, and I certainly, yes, they all had an impact on me.
Yeah. Now, this book it's been out a few years now, and it's had quite an interesting life. And can you tell us in numbers how many copies of this book have sold?
I haven't counted the boxes still in my basement, but I'm guessing probably about 3,300.
3,300,
Yeah,
which
have
that
sold.
almost elevates you to a level of national best-selling author, just in case you're not aware of that.
Is it 5,000?
It's 5,000,
Yeah.
so you're getting there.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. No, it's done very well. I was
Yeah.
so pleased, and I've had lots of great feedback. People email me and
Yes.
and say how much it helped them in,
Yeah.
Gave them hope or
Yeah.
whatever. And
Wait, you know what? People email me and say, "Do you know the Saskatchewan Secret girl?" So that's
Cool.
that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you back.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you.
Okay, now let's talk about more in depth about the actual book itself, and just maybe give us a rundown of a couple of the stories, a couple of the healers that are featured in the book, because I think there's been a lot of buzz around the province about that.
Yeah, okay, well, let's see. There was Betty McKenna. She's a First Nations elder, and ever since she was little, she was able to see auras, and she
Wow.
didn't know what they were. She didn't know that word. But she can read people's energy just by looking at them, and not just their energy, she sees whole images of their lives. And so then she actually will use your hand and read very specific things about your life. So she did that with me, and it was amazing. I've had palm readings done before, but this was completely different. This
Wow.
was
A little trippy?
yeah, very trippy. Yes. Then there were so many. Lee Donison was a healer in Regina who never wanted to be a healer, not at all. Most of these people didn't. Most of these people, it was a calling and a gift, and they simply couldn't refuse it at some point. But Lee was well known because he would work on people and they'd be healed quite instantly. Like, he became
Wow.
famous. He didn't want to be, like I said, he sold insurance as his occupation, but he'd come home from work every day and there'd be 10 or 20 people waiting on the front step or in the front room, because by then the word got around. He could reduce tumors in people or heal sports injuries real quick. In fact, he worked on lots of sports teams in Regina.
Wow.
Yeah, he was very well known. He did pass away a couple of years ago, unfortunately, but he helped a lot of people. And again, his gift, he was a little boy and he just realized he could look into animals or people's bodies and see weird light that wasn't right.
Wow.
And that if he focused his energy, his mind, he could get rid of that light. Interesting
Fascinating.
stuff.
Very interesting.
Yeah, none of these people were trained. They all had a natural gift, and they all, like I said, didn't even want it, because it made for a hard life at times.
Yeah.
Made them unusual, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how in the book, at some point, I think it's at the beginning, you make it clear that you are the vessel to tell their stories, that you were not an actual healer yourself.
No.
Which I think,
No.
yeah, yeah, that must have been hard to just find that balance when you were researching and writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't purport to be a healer at all.
Yeah.
I don't think I have that gift.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, now I know we're running out of time, but I wanted to ask you, where in Saskatchewan can viewers find the Saskatchewan Secret? Because I think it's quite broadly placed around the province.
That's true. You know, it is. It's in lots of smaller centers, and so the best place to find where those centers are is on my website, because I do list them. Should I say my website?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is a great time to do it.
So it's www.folkhealers.ca. But the obvious one in Saskatoon is McNally Robinson, and then my website. People can buy them off the site, and in fact, I will sign them for what it's worth if they buy them off the site, because I send them out myself.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting too, and maybe we'll just throw that out there that you self-published this and
Yes.
have had phenomenal success with it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of writers do these days.
Yes. Well.
Yeah.
Thanks to you,
Myself
I
included.
self-published it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't my first choice, but it turned out really well.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, with everybody reading online, I'm just wondering, do you think you'll embrace the ebook technology and throw this out as an ebook, or?
I don't know. I'm such a dinosaur. Like, I still have not read anything online, and I still only read paper books. So I don't know. It's going to be a while before I truly get on board. I just got a cell phone. You know, I'm way behind.
All in good time.
Yeah.
Well, I know we're out of time, but I just want to thank you for coming up to Amazing Stories today, because there's something about you. You light up the set. You illuminate the whole studio wherever you are. So
Thank you
always a
very much,
pleasure.
Wes. It
You're
was my
welcome.
pleasure.
It was our pleasure. That's all the time we have today for Lit Happens. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can see previous segments on the Shaw TV website or on my website, wesfunk.ca. And you can connect with us online on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So I'll see you next time on Lit Happens.